Money doesn't grow on trees, or does it? Too many people spend money they earned to buy things they don't want, to impress people that they don't like. Will Rogers. Growing up, the majority of children have certain beliefs embedded in their minds through constant repetition. These beliefs aren't truths, so to speak. Our parents unknowingly pass down these beliefs generation after generation. They ingrain them in our malleable minds. One such belief is the following. Money doesn't grow on trees. Having a belief doesn't make it true. But it certainly feels true. If you were to say, money doesn't, to most people, how do they respond? Think about it yourself. When you hear that, what does your brain automatically think? Sure, we're discussing that topic right now. But surely, when I say money doesn't, your brain immediately thinks, grow on trees. It's very similar to money is the root of all evil. Now, I know what you're thinking. These sayings are absolute truths. They're real and they're concrete. However, I don't agree. These beliefs are simply false truths. Yes, they're repeatedly restated. But does that make them true? Truth is largely subjective and belief is the foundation for all potential in life. If you believe you can, you will. If you don't, you'll just find an excuse. Isn't that right? Does money grow on trees? I remember when I was kid. I remember hearing this over and over again. Money doesn't grow on trees. I'd hear it from my parents. From other parents. From kids. And seemingly from all around. For a long time, I even believed this to be true. And because I believed it to be true, I governed my actions based on it. However, that's the simple fact about beliefs. They form a foundation. They're the base level. Very much like a concrete foundation, the deeper and more profound those beliefs run, the stronger they are and harder they are to destruct. That can work against us. Especially as we grow and age and mature into adults. We carry beliefs with us through childhood and into adulthood, then parenthood. What we believe, we pass on to our children. It's pretty obvious and we see it all the time. Children are often direct replicas of their parents when it comes to beliefs. This holds true for religion, racism, sexism, bullying and everything else in between. If you believe a certain thing, it's incredibly difficult to dissuade you from that belief. Especially if you've believed it since you were a child. Why does this matter at all? You see, our parents are coming from a place of good. They don't mean to hurt us by saying that money doesn't grow on trees. But saying something like that shapes our beliefs. It molds the way we think. And it impacts how we govern ourselves in this world. When you say that money doesn't grow on trees, you're coming from a place of scarcity. Scarcity is a very slippery slope. It makes you think that there's not enough of something. There's not enough money or time or opportunities. Whatever it might be. And you then adjust your actions based on this scarcity mindset. You see, money isn't real. It's just a concept. It's entirely made up and concocted to all trust in trade transactions. Money is just pieces of paper with deceased notables on them. Yet, we all look at money as this thing that's real and concrete. It's not. They're merely ones and zeros, and the only thing that's real is the belief you've formed in your mind. So if you think that money doesn't grow on trees, then in your life, money will be hard to come by. Plain and simple. 5 reasons why your beliefs about money are hurting you. No matter what you believe about money, it's likely hurting you from getting rich and achieving financial freedom. Sayings like, money doesn't grow on trees, creates real scarcity and instills an immense amount of fear into our lives. We're afraid of the outcome because our beliefs about money make us think that there's not enough money to go around. Well, let me tell you a little something about money. There is always enough to go around. In fact, abundance is everywhere you turn. And money is flowing so freely and in such large amounts, that you don't need to look very far to see it for yourself. So what separates those people from the people who never seem to have enough money? What's the secret? For starters, when you believe in false truths like money doesn't grow on trees or money is the root of all evil, it cuts you off from an abundant energy. And that doesn't help you. Rather, it hurts you and limits your changes for attracting more money and more wealth into your life right now. 1. Like attracts like energy works like this. When you have a predominantly negative or positive thought in your mind, you attract those similar energies. This is based off of vibrational frequencies. You don't realize what's happening, but all thought energy vibrates on different energy wavelengths. Remember, thought is just energy in its purest form. When you send out certain energy signals into the world, you attract similar energy levels back. In fact, this is so powerful that oftentimes we say things like bad things happen in threes, meaning we keep attracting bad things into our lives. Those are false beliefs. They're not real. Or, when you just seem to be lucky all the time. Much of this has to do with energy rather than luck. However, most people will never believe this. They'll never believe that negative people attract negative situations, just as much as positive people attract positive situations. But don't live in this bubble. Don't be this person. Flip the script and understand that whatever energy you put out there into the world comes back full circle. 2. It stops you from taking action when you're worried about money and you think that it's difficult to come by. Oftentimes you don't take action. You don't do what it takes because your beliefs limit you. They stop you from doing what will bring you closest to your goals. When you allow that to happen, nothing can change in your life and you will constantly be doing the same thing. Nothing changes unless you change. But if you think that money doesn't grow on trees, you'll never get out there and find the money. The truth is that there is a sheer amount of abundance in the world. Money is everywhere. It's not hard to come by. It's flowing freely and in great quantities. So you have to retrain your brain from thinking this way. If you continue to hold beliefs like that, it'll stop you from taking real action. It will hold you back and keep you idle. You can't push forward and move towards the life of your dreams. You'll be stifled by inaction and procrastination. And we all know that procrastination is the biggest killer of our dreams. 3. It makes you live in constant fear. Here's the biggest problem about harboring beliefs like this about money. When you think that money doesn't grow on trees, it makes you live in a constant state of fear. You're stifled because you're so afraid to do anything. You're afraid to leave your 9-to-5 job or splurge on a new opportunity that could alter your income, but might pose some risks. You see, uncertainty is a huge fear for people. When you're afraid of the unknown, you don't move forward with courage. And that holds you back. It's not just a matter of procrastination. You become deathly afraid of what will happen if you move forward. And money is one of these concepts where your beliefs will dictate the trajectory of your career and your life. It's also very hard to unravel a belief that's deeply ingrained in your mind. It comes from years, and even decades, of conditioning. Changing something like that doesn't happen overnight. But you can break the chains that bind you with real focus on building up new and more empowering beliefs. 4. You end up making excuses for yourself. When you have limiting beliefs about money, you end up making excuses for yourself. You say things like, I'm not good with money, or you need money to make money and my family has never been rich. Every single one of these beliefs limits you in life. It holds you back from living the life of your dreams. It's easy to make excuses, though. When things go wrong and you fail, you end up kicking yourself. You beat yourself up. You say things like I should have, would have, or could have done things differently. But none of that is true. Everything is made up and money is merely just this concept and not actually something tangible. Once you understand that money is in abundance and it's everywhere, you'll be able to tap into that wealth. But when you don't get that, it's harder to move forward. You'll just end up making excuses for yourself and you'll never actually push the boundaries to create real and unimaginable wealth in your life. 5. You'll give up on your dreams. The problem about beliefs related to money is that they either propel us forward or hold us back. But if you think that money is a scarce resource, you'll never pursue your bigger dreams. You'll stay idle and won't do what it takes. You'll think that it's impossible to find the money or resources or connections to do what you want in life. It's difficult to achieve big goals. Sure. Everyone knows that. But with the right amount of effort and action, anything is possible. Anything. We all know that's true, but maybe we don't believe it to be true in our lives. We have limiting beliefs that are holding us back and we feel constrained by them. Understand that big goals take big effort. But if you want to stay persistent, you have to have beliefs that empower you. Because, there's the truth. Even the most famous people have failed the most times. So you have to stay committed and don't allow failure to hold you back. Embrace empowering beliefs about money and keep pushing. Learn how to make money online. Whether you have empowering beliefs about money or not, you have to learn the strategies for making money online. Today, we live in a whole new world. Not only is it possible to make money, but people are doing it left and right. The problem is that most people don't know where to turn for the right knowledge or information. Today, it's all about trust. You might not trust most people, especially if you think that money doesn't grow on trees. But you likely trust Amazon. Amazon is the biggest marketplace in the world. And it keeps growing exponentially. And the best opportunity to make money online is to actually partner with Amazon. By becoming an Amazon FBA seller, you're leveraging the largest platform in the world to sell your products. The truth is, why wouldn't you want to have the largest e-commerce company in the world as your partner? It would be silly to try to make money online or generate passive income without having them as your partner.